I've attempted both dormant seeding of small lawn spaces and spring seeding of multiple lawn spaces, and I can attest to the well-known fact that spring seeding is hard, but it's doable, and dormant seeding is much easier, but it's quite wasteful. If you miss the fall seeding window and still want to or need to cover up some bare dirt with new grass as early as possible, then I got some things to say that might make a difference in your plan. For those tempted to dormant seed, it's important to not drop the seed too early. If you spread seed in early December, hoping to get it to germinate in early spring, then that gives it too much time for seed loss over winter. By spring, only a minimal amount will be left to germinate, and if anything germinates early, it will be susceptible to frost damage or death in late winter. I've germinated perennial rye in a controlled environment at soil temps as low as 45 degrees, with air temperatures dropping down into the high 30s. It only took 14 days. That means that if I dormant seeded the lawn in early January and we had a mild February, the seed could easily start growing by Valentine's Day, only to be damaged or killed off by a late winter cold snap. If you're going to dormant seed, I recommend waiting until at least January and dropping the seed on a day just before an expected snow or before plunging temperatures. To minimize the loss of seed, you need to cover the seed well, a bit more than you would do normally. This will slow the seed loss due to erosion or animals. I would also advise people who choose to dormant seed to use 50% more seed than they would use otherwise, and to have straw or frost blankets available to cover any seedlings that may have accidentally germinated early before any later winter cold snaps try to kill them off. No matter how successful dormant seeding is, you should always expect a lot of seed loss. But the grass that does come up will come up earlier than a spring seeding, which will give you a jump start on spring, and it may even allow you to do normal spring chores, such as the application of pre-emergence. This is something you can't do if you had chosen to do a spring seeding. If wasting so much seed doesn't sit well with you, then the spring seeding can be much more successful, but it will be more work. The reason for this is you need to work the ground in the early spring, when the soils are frequently hard to work due to the winter thaw. Your results, however, are amplified when you use greenhouse plastic to warm the soil up in the late winter prior to the spring seeding. Weed control throughout the spring gets more complicated too, because pre-emergence and weed killers will damage or kill off the baby grass. You may have to apply specialty products like mesotrione a couple different times to limit the emergence during your seeding project, and then wait uncomfortably late into the spring before you apply a late spring half application of standard pre-emergence, or none at all. If you get grass growing in the spring, most of your sprouts won't have enough time to put on enough root growth to stand up to the high heat of summer, which can easily start in June just about anywhere. If you get first germination around April 1st, and 60 days later you're seeing 85+ degree days that are 15 hours long, and then those baby grass blades are going to be under extreme stress. Heat and drought can and will kill baby grass very quickly. So spring seeding usually means you'll have to water much more frequently and heavily manage the seeded area all throughout the summer. I've literally set up artificial shade over stressed spring baby grass to keep it going. Pop-up canopies can be helpful and super annoying to use if used only for the purpose of growing grass. Other specialty products like Hydretain can get baby grass through the heat of summer, and if you grow a slow to establish grass that's a big water hog like a Kentucky bluegrass, you may find all the trouble just isn't worth it. Seeding a lawn in August is far easier than seeding in the months of March, April, and May. For spring seeding, I recommend dropping only rye or fescue in March after artificially warming the soil a bit and expecting the germination process to take at least twice as long as normal. If you can get ryegrass to germinate by April 1st, then you can apply a half-rate application of pre-emergent by mid-May and the Hydretain to the lawn space by the 1st of June and the middle of July to keep things going. For Kentucky bluegrass, I just don't think it's worth trying the spring seeding at all, and I'd greatly recommend waiting until August instead, unless you were up for the KBG dormant seeding, hoping for early germination sometime in March. In all circumstances, covering the seed with thicker layers of top dressing is helpful for both dormant and spring seeding. And having removable covers such as greenhouse plastic, frost blankets, straw blankets, these can be extremely helpful. There's a reason why lawn educators always say fall is the best time to seed. However, for warm season grasses, that's not the case. Spring seeding is easily the best time for warm season grasses because those grass types grow their best during the heat of summer. If I was going to seed a warm season grass like buffalo or Bermuda or zoysia, just to name a few, I'd look to apply seed in the month of April, hoping for germination by early May, so that I could take full advantage of the warm summer season that those grass types thrive in. Buffalo is actually a warm season grass that can also be grown in cold season territories. And I drop that seed in May in cooler climates looking for June germination. I never considered dormant seeding buffalo up north though, because the cost of the seed and the high level of waste is just too much. If you've never heard of buffalo grass, then make sure to see this video that I made on it. In my opinion, it's the grass type that half of the country should be transitioning to in the coming years.